B'siyata d'shmai Shabbos Parshas Breishis B'vorach Marchedesh Marcheshvan Maimer Aleph Tetu Maimor in that Shabbos Tavshich of Hey Breishis Boroh L'Kimus Shmai V'Sa'oretz. So the Torah begins with the account of creation. U'Pirush Rashi, so Rashi gives the following explanation. Omar Rabbi Yitzchak said, just that Chagav B'chlal, Rashi doesn't bring the sources very rarely, and if he does, there's because the source adds an answer to a question that a very insightful student may ask, as we are familiar from the Rashi Sichos. Why does he bring Rabbi Yitzchak? One of the answers is his father was Yitzchak, and he wanted to be mechabed his father, so therefore he quotes the Medrash with the name Rabbi Yitzchak. Rabbi Yitzchak said, Torah is instructions first and foremost. So it should have begun with the first mitzvah the Yidden got, which is the Jewish calendar, and that Nisan be the first month of the Jewish calendar. As for the account of creation, that can be written later. But the first thing surely is, when a person opens the Torah, no, what do I do? So why doesn't it start with the first mitzvah, the first instruction? And why start with Breishis? Mishum, okay, friends, you will know this, that this explanation of Rashi from the Medrash has been entirely not just not relevant since the dawn of creation, but unthinkable. Like, when would this ever happen? The nations of the world are saying, you stole the land. The answer is now the end of Golus. The end of Golus. This is what we're facing. And the very first pasuk in the Torah, as explained by Rashi, the most straightforward, expositor of the Torah, that first pasuk is written, the whole account of creation is written to answer the charge of the nations of the world vis-a-vis Yisrael, which is now the end of Golus. And this is the pathway to redemption, and the only path. Let's learn to make a ceasefire. Let's learn. Somebody wants to kill you and attacks you, and they're hell bent on it. And when you get the upper hand and almost destroy them, they cry ceasefire, peace. Beyond ludicrous, beyond dangerous. For them, it means a victory. And the victory just means a lull before the next, God forbid, Payalisia. This war is going to be won first and foremost in our own conviction. If we don't have the conviction, this is a psychological and fundamentally spiritual war. And if you show weakness on any level, okay, God's got to save us from ourselves. Let's continue. Because the Torah once is quoting a pasuk. Pasuk in Tehillim. The power of his works he wants to relate to his people in order lasis lahem nachlas goyim, that they should have the inheritance of the nations once upon a time that belonged to the nations. God is relating the power of his works, so we have the answer to the charge that we have stolen the land. If the nations of the world will say to the Jews, you are thieves, so Yidden will respond. This is the only answer. The whole world belongs to God. But saying not Mehem, he gave it to them, this land initially, to pre-Avram, to non-Jews, but then Nos Dalonu gave it to us. Finish. That is the answer. tzarich lahavin. What we have to understand the following: Ali Torah Sefer Shel Dinim V'Yiros. I kind of, gave the answer. This is an instruction. It's an instruction. The end of Golus. But the Rebbe is asking the question on a more broader level on all of the Deiros. What is the answer here? It applies to all generations. So Echlovin, Ale Torah Sefer Shel Dinim V'Yiros Sefer is a sefer of laws and instructions. Yidua Shetorah Milosh Neira the Zoya. This is a famous, Zoya. That Torah comes from the word Hira, instruction, as in Mora, parent. Mora, teacher, Hora, parent. So so what is this? What's the connection? What is the instruction here that he's relating the works of his hands to his people? What's the instruction? Before the last few years, where this is the burning issue. It's asking Bechlal throughout history. But Yosef Yuksha, the question is even greater. Shinyan Zeras Cholas HaTorah begins the Torah. The question is another one. Okay, we need to know the answer. God has to relate the power of his actions to justify the claim that we stole the land. We don't have to begin the Torah with that. Say it later, we still get the answer. What's the hechrech that this Torah should begin with that? You're going to get a very deep answer, universal answer. As Rashi asked, Torah should begin with the first mitzvah. The Kivin should say that Torah malamayda lamata. So, and Torah is all about heaven's bestowal to us from above to below. And therefore, going deeper now, why this mitzvah? Because Torah should begin with something heavenly and godly, above the world. That's what it is. Because das elyon. Previous mind we just learned. And that's all expressed in this mitzvah. Is explained in Chassidus that this month, the month of Nisan, is the first month of the year, the holding in of sanctifying the new moon. It's all the revelation of godliness, high in the world, the renewal of the moon, etc. Das el yinichu de yilah. That's how it should begin. Then tell us matters that relate to the world also, how we fend off accusations. There can be that aspect too, but that should come afterwards. First, give us a heavenly message, and then even give us an earthly instruction that will be required when it's required. We don't have an answer. Why it begins with Breishis? As an answer to the nations of the world. Okay, if we have to have that answer, and for the longest time we didn't, but even if we did, because no one ever made that accusation, but even if we did, tell it to us later. We're opening Torah, we want to get a heavenly instruction. We want to get a revelation of godliness to us here in this world. So why does it start with that? That is the question. Let's continue the next couple of lines. Yeah, but clear in the question. Yeah. We're going to understand it by first prefacing it. Request of David HaMelech. What does he say in Tehillim? Kapitel Kuf Yutes. Gal einai, open my eyes. V'yabitan yiflois m'toresecha, and I will see or gaze upon the wonders of your Torah. Shebakosha, so what's he asking? This request in the Shiyav Betuv, Pirish HaPoshut Al Pi Nigla the Torah. He's not asking us to should understand well the simple meaning of the Torah Al Pi Nigla. Because Sha'ari Al Zeh ain't Tzadeh Bakosha Mechedes. You don't have to request that. Just learn. Kim Shenigla the Torah Nitna Ba'ofen Sheba V'Avan Masak. It's like the level 2 we learned earlier. This is the level of Yigi and Torah. Toil, part of it. Verstehen? You hard of it, understand. Torah was given in a way that we can understand it. But he's like someone who says something logical. And he wants that the person to whom he's talking to should understand well what he's saying. He wouldn't say it if he doesn't want the listener to grasp it. So likewise, the Eibishter, when the Eibishter gives, use the present tense, Yidden the Torah, bevadai the Tzayna, of course he wants, Bnei Yavinus HaTorah. You understand it? And therefore gives in such a way that it can be understood. Therefore he gives Torah in a way that can be grasped. So it's accessible. So what's he requesting? That's how you were given it. You were given the Torah to understand. So please open my eyes to understand. That's how Torah is given in the first place. What's his request? Voids is another question. The main thing of Limud Torah is next page. Limud. Maybe the day Maisa mitzvahs. That the learning brings to action mitzvahs. Behind through learning Torah, you come to fulfill the mitzvahs. Meaning the fisher calling you're not mitzvahs yeshna b'Torah. All the aspects of the mitzvahs are in the Torah. That's how we know how to do them. Mishakos of Zois HaTorah Adam. The Torah, the pasuk, it's a hint, goes on to say, Zois HaTorah, this is the law. Adam, when a person dies in the tent, the laws of Tumas Mes. But Apikabal, this is actually from the Zohar, see the Zohar. Zois HaTorah Adam, put the period. This is the Torah Adam, it is an Adam, like man, meaning, a person has, human being, has 248 limbs and 365 sinews or veins, arteries. Likewise, Torah has 248 positive commandments, 365 prohibitions. By learning all of the 248 positive, the 365 prohibitions, that's how you come to fulfill the mitzvahs in actuality. Now, this is all part of the question. Everybody has to keep the mitzvahs. But there are many mitzvahs that don't apply to everybody. So he explains. This is from we just learned recently in Tanya. There's some mitzvahs everybody must do it personally. It says yesterday's Tanya. There are mitzvahs that a person fulfills them the day before. He fulfills them. He's connected to all Yidden, so the Melech, the Kohen, and the Levi fulfills the mitzvahs for him. This, by the way, is the connection maybe to we learned end of the previous Maimer, that even the Jew is only shaykhs to the level of Yerusha, the practical, he's connected to all of the other levels of Torah as well. Why? Because all Yidden are connected with each other. He's connected even with those Jews who learn Torah on level 2 and level 3. At any rate, middle of a question. He's questioning David HaMelech's request. In order to do a mitzvah, you got to learn it first in Torah. And especially taking into consideration, learning Torah itself, even mitzvahs is one of the mitzvahs. So conclusions are so it's obvious that a person is able to learn and understand it. Because it's all about performance of mitzvahs. So if you don't understand the instruction, you can't do the mitzvahs. And the whole point is what? To do the mitzvahs. So it's accessible, not available. What are you asking? There's no need for a special request. Toil. We quoted earlier, I have toiled and I have found. It has to be Yigiyah. So what are the two levels of the question? The first level is, of the question on David HaMelech's request is, if Hashem gives us the Torah to understand, you surely can understand it. Making the question stronger is the whole point of Torah is what? The whole point of it is maybe the day Maisa, so you can't get to the Maisa without doing. So it's certainly accessible, because then the whole objective, which maybe the day Maisa, is not going to be achieved. All that's required is just put in the effort. So what's his request? We'll stop here. We'll just say the next few lines. His request, open my eyes, they're not asking about nigle. He's asking Hashem to open his eyes to see the inner dimension of Torah. Then if Lois, we'll continue that in the text when? We'll continue Be'ez Hashem Monday morning, right?